Hey, what's up everyone? John here with WebDev for you, here to help you build awesome websites without code in Webflow. Welcome to my new series called From Figma to Webflow, and this is where I randomly pick a Figma file from the Figma community and I rebuild it in Webflow. So today I'm just going to pick a project from the Figma community here, and I'll leave a link so you can kind of see the different projects that are available. There's just a lot, and so it can give us a lot of great practice with building in Webflow and going from Figma to Webflow, because I know a lot of clients now are building their design in Figma, so hopefully this helps with that translation to Webflow. So the one I'll be building today is this plans and pricing page, so I'll go ahead and get a copy and let's go ahead and build this out. So they provide the details. They're using the font Poppins. So I'll just go right into Webflow, go to the project settings, and we will add the font. I'm not sure why that popped up there. All right, here we go. So let's go to Poppins, and it is right here. And we'll go ahead and install all the fonts. I'll add the font, and then I'll go to the designer. Okay, so we have the font and we have the different colors here. So I'll go ahead and add those colors as global swatches so we have them. So I'm just gonna add a div block and then just gonna copy and paste those colors. So we have this color here. I'll go into Webflow, give it the background color there. I'll click the plus and click create. And then let's go back into Figma. We will grab this color, go into Webflow. I'll click the plus here. And actually, let me cancel that. Let me paste that in there, and then I'll click the plus, click create. And then we have this color here. And we'll go ahead and paste it in there. I'll click the plus, click create, and we have this color here, which is almost a white. Click the plus, and oops, no, first we paste the color in, and then click the plus, and then create. Okay, so we have our global swatches here that we can access easily in Webflow, and we have the font. So this looks like a full let's go back into the design. This looks like let me see, yeah, like a full viewport section. So we'll go ahead and do that. And yeah, actually, yeah, the background is a full viewport background, and then this looks like it could be in a container. So yeah, let's go ahead and start with the build. So the first thing I'm going to add is this Navigator right up here. So I'm going to hit Command K, add a div block, and I'm going to call this pricing. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll call it pricing nav. Everything will just have a keyword of pricing. So pricing nav. And for this, I'm going to set the display setting to flex. And we're going to do, let's see here, how do I want to approach this one? Yeah, we'll do justify space between, so that we can place the menu button here on the left and this join now button here on the right. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy these little icons. So I'm just going to grab it. I'm going to export it as SVG, and let's preview it. And yeah, I'll go ahead and export. Cool. So let me go to my Finder, and okay, so I'll just rename this to menu icon. So I'll go back into Webflow, and I'll just drop in that asset into Webflow. Then I'll go back into Figma, and let's copy this entire logo. Yeah, let's just copy that as an SVG, export frame, and we'll go ahead and drop that into the assets panel in Webflow. I'll just call it logo SVG. Okay, great. So I'll go ahead and add, let's see, I'll add a div block here, and I'll call this menu pricing menu trigger. And then I'll add the menu trigger image as a background, set it to cover, center, and I don't need it to be tiled. And then I'll give it a specific width and height. So let's see here, this button is about 23 pixels in width. So I'll go ahead and do that there. And the height should be auto. Okay, so 23 by 23. 23 by 15. Something like that. Okay, so we can't really see it because it's really small up there. But I'll go ahead and add let's add the join now button. So I'll add a button, and I'll call this pricing nav button. And we'll go ahead and style it as that purple color, and it says join now. So I'll go ahead and type in join now, and we'll set the border radius to, let's set it to 100. So it's a pill. And let's give it the background color of that purple, and we'll set the font to Poppins, and the font here is, let's go to inspect, it's let's see here, there we go. So it's 1418 and a weight of 500. So the font weight is 500, 14, and a line height of 18. Great. And then we'll just add some padding to the left and the right to make the button a little bit bigger, and some padding to the top and the bottom. All right. Just trying to get, maybe I can just see the size here. So 30, 10, 10. Okay, great. Yeah, Figma is awesome. So 10 and 10. So we have our join now button, and let me center this here. And I'm going to add some padding to the left and the right of this pricing nav. So I'm going to add 10 VW to the left and 10 VW to the right. So there's some padding here on the left and the right. And we can go ahead and add the logo here. So for this, actually what I can do for the pricing nav, rather than flex, and I just thought about this, we can do grid and create 3 columns and 1 row. Perfect. And we'll place the button in this grid cell if it allows me to do that. Actually, we can go ahead and add the image, and we'll say pricing logo. Okay, and then I'll choose the image, select the logo, perfect. And we'll place the logo in the middle. And then for this grid cell, we'll say position in the center. And for this grid cell, we'll say position to the right, justify to the right. And this grid cell, we'll say justify left, and great. We want it to be aligned center as well, but that doesn't seem to work. So I can set it to flex center. Nope. Okay, we'll just leave it as is. It looks like it is placing it in the center. Okay, so that looks good. We have our nav created. So I did use grid for the pricing nav, created 3 columns, and then we placed everything in the grid. So I can just add some padding here to the top and the bottom, maybe 60 pixels. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right, so we have that, and let's see here. Yeah, this plans and pricing seems to be in a container. So I'll go ahead and place this in a container. And yeah, so, let me see here. Yeah, let's go ahead and add this section. So we'll add a section, and I'll call this pricing section. And we'll add a container in here. So I'll add a div, and we'll call this pricing container. And we'll set the max width to 1170 and set it to auto so it's in the center, and that looks good. So let's go ahead and add the heading, plans and pricing. So I'll go ahead and add a heading, and we'll say pricing heading, and it is 4060. So under typography it's Poppins, I think it's normal, 40 for the size and 60 for the height, and the color is that purple. So let's select that darker purple for the color, and yeah, the weight is 400. So this is plans and pricing, so I'll go ahead and add plans and pricing. Great. And then we have a paragraph here, so I'll go ahead and add, actually it's more of a text block, it's not really a paragraph, so I'll go ahead and add that. We'll add a text block, and I'll call this pricing blurb, and it is 500, 1827, so Poppins 500, 18 and 27. And then I'll just go ahead and copy this content and we'll paste it into here. And it looks like, yeah, we have some buttons here to the left and the right, so we'll have to create these buttons here. And yeah, I'll go ahead and set this to flex. So let me add a div block, and I'll call this pricing plan wrapper. And we'll add the blurb inside of here. We'll set the pricing plan wrapper to flex, horizontal, align, stretch, and justify left. And then I'll add, so for here, I'm trying to see the best way, because this is going to be a toggle that's going to go from monthly to yearly. So essentially, yeah, this could be an interaction. So let's see. Yeah, I have an idea for this. Yeah, so let's create a pricing plan wrapper, and then we'll add a div, and we'll call this pricing time wrapper, so it's monthly or yearly. And for the blurb, I'm going to set the width to, let's set it to 60%, so it fills up 60% of that width. This pricing plan wrapper, let me set it to 100%, and the, let's see, pricing plan wrapper 100%, and this will be 40% for the pricing blurb, and we'll add some margin of like 60 pixels, so there's some spacing, or 100 pixels because it's pretty far. Okay, and I'm gonna add a background to the body for now, just so we can maybe like that. Okay, cool. So to this pricing time wrapper, I'm gonna set the background color to white, to this color, and we're gonna set the border radius to 100. So it's a complete pill. You can do more than 100 just to ensure that it's, you know, a full pill. And then this will be interesting. Actually, let me remove the 40% width, and we'll have the text fill the width. So pricing time wrapper, we'll set it to flex, justify start, and align center. And then I'll add a text block in here, and we'll call this pricing plan text. And we'll go ahead into here. We have monthly, so 500, 12, 18. So let's go ahead and style it. So Poppins 500, 12, and 18. And this is gonna say monthly, and Okay, monthly, yeah, that looks good. And let's add some margin to the left and the right. So we'll say 40. So we have monthly. And we also, for this text, we want to set it to more type options, and we want to set it to all capitals. And we'll add some letter spacing of 2. Or one pixel of letter spacing. Okay, then I'll copy and paste this text, and we'll change this to yearly. All right, cool. So we have that, and now we want to add that pill in the background, that purple color. So for monthly, I'm going to call this white, and we'll change this color in a second. So I'm going to set the position of pricing time wrapper to position of relative, so that we can add a div, and we'll set this to pricing plan BG button, so background button. And we'll set this to a width of 50% and a height, or we'll set it to position absolute and full, and a width of 50%. Okay. And again, we'll give it a large border radius of like 200, or actually prior to doing that, let's give it a background color. We'll say purple, and I'll say radius of 200 just to ensure it's a perfect pill shape. And we'll go ahead and place this pricing plan background button below or above the text. And we can see the text is not in front, so we have to go to the pricing plan text. And we'll go to the one that doesn't have a combo class, and we'll set it to the position of relative. Okay, and I'll go ahead and change the color now to white for this text. And we'll change the color to this, to the purple color. All right, and it looks like it might have a shadow. It looks like this button has a shadow. And it does, it has a small shadow. Let me copy this color, and I'll try to mimic that shadow. I'm not sure if I'll be able to, but we'll try. So box shadows, I'll click the plus, paste that color in there, and basically we have YB7, so I think its blur is 7, and the distance on the Y is 5. So 5, and size is 0, and so this should be 180. And the opacity is 23, so we'll change the opacity here to 23, the alpha. Okay, cool. That looks pretty good. Gives a little bit of depth to the button, and yeah, I like it. Cool. And I'm just trying to see, oh yeah, so the color of this text here is this color, so let's go ahead and change that. I wonder if I added that color here to the global swatches. Doesn't look like I did. Nice. And this is pop-ins. Should be, yeah, 500. Cool. So let me add a little more margin here to, nope, 60%. Let's change this to 50%. Nope. Let's see, maybe if I add, no. Join now. We are in the container, so pricing container, 1170. Pricing plan, yeah, let's do it like that. Okay, great. And yeah, I'll add some padding there just to okay, yeah, that works. And actually, no, I do want this button to, let's see here. Okay, yeah, no, I want this button to be all the way to the right. So I'll justify start or justify in between, so that this goes all the way to the right of the container and this goes all the way to the left. So if I preview, these buttons are a little bit wider up here, but we have this button here, and that looks good. Okay, and let's go ahead and add a little bit more margin to the bottom, maybe 40. Let's just double check that. It's 25, so I'll do 30. Great. And now to the big section here, the pricing section. So this should be fun. Yeah, let's go ahead and add the gradient to this entire section. So what I'll actually do is I'll place the pricing nav inside of the pricing section. Yeah, I like that better. So this is just one section. And yeah, and rather than applying the padding to here, I'm going to apply the padding to the entire section. So I'm going to say 10 VW for the section and 10 VW here. Okay, cool. So that way, if we resize the browser, yeah, we have some padding on the left and the right. Nice. Cool. So let's add the gradient. So I'll go into Webflow. I'll add the section, or actually no, we'll add the gradient at the end, so that this container or this pricing section will add the height to the page. Okay, so I have a few components here. I can see we have this background and we have the pricing cards. So essentially what I'm gonna do is create, so we're in the pricing container, and I'm gonna add a div block in the container, and I'm gonna call this pricing table wrapper. Let's give it a display setting of grid. We'll add 3 columns and 1 row, because we can see here we have 3 columns. Great. And awesome. So let's see. Yeah, I like that. So let's go ahead and add a div block. We'll call this pricing table wrapper. Oh no, pricing column wrapper. Yeah, pricing column wrapper. And we'll copy and paste. So we have 3. And then we'll add a div block in here, and we'll call this pricing column. And we'll go ahead. So let's just create one pricing column for now, and then we'll copy and paste into the other grid cells. So for the pricing column wrapper, I'm going to set the position to relative, right down here. And for the pricing column, I'm going to set it to a position of absolute and full. So the reason we're doing this is because we're going to pop this one out, and we're going to pop it out of its parent element. So I want to make sure that we have the necessary structure to pop this one out of its parent element. And by having it absolute, we can move it within its parent element. Okay, so let's go ahead and start adding the text. So we'll say we're in the pricing column, so we'll add a text block, and we'll call this pricing price. And so my class naming could be a little bit better, but I'm just trying to go through this a bit quicker, so so it's not perfect. So we have $19 a month. Month is not capitalized. And let's go ahead and get the text for month. 517.26. So we'll go ahead and style that. So pop-ins 2026. And let me go to the body, and I'm actually going to click on body all pages, and I'm going to set the text to pop-in so we don't have to keep going back, and I'll change the color to this blue. so the color is always the same, and we don't have to keep setting it every time we add new text. Okay, so the color for this text is this here, and I'll go ahead and change the color right in here. And let's go ahead and style this text. So this is 3646 and 700. So we'll add a span element. So we'll change it to a span, pricing, price bold, and 3646, font weight of 700, and the color of blue. And that's it. We can maybe add a little bit of padding, maybe 5. Yeah, that looks good. All right, so we have the pricing price, and then we have this little kind of heading. I'm gonna give it a heading class. So go to the pricing column, we'll add a heading, and yeah, actually this needs to be position relative, not absolute. Yeah, so for the pricing column, set it to relative. We'll worry about this piece in a second. So we have the pricing price heading, and we'll call this starter, and it should be medium 2842. 2842. Great. And awesome. So 2842. And then we have this text here, unleash the power of automation. So we'll add in the column, we'll add a paragraph. Actually, it's more of a text block, it's not really a paragraph. And we'll call this pricing price, or let's see, pricing price blurb. And unleash the power of automation. And this is 1523 500. 1523, and we'll change the color here. All right, and then we have this little kind of grid. I'm trying to see how I want to do this. Yeah, I'll just export this little button as an SVG, export the check, and then in Webflow we'll add a div, and I'll call this pricing list item wrapper. Pricing list item wrapper. Okay. Set it to flex, horizontal, justify, align stretch, justify start. I'll go ahead and drag that check mark into the assets panel, and we'll just add it as an image. Okay, so we have the check mark. Then I'll add a text block, and we'll say this is 1523, and we have this color here. So we'll call this pricing list item text. Change the color here, and we'll say 1423. Okay. Multi-step zaps. And actually should be bold. So this goes to here, and yeah, I'll just copy that. Okay, so let me add some pricing list item check, and let's add some margin of maybe 10 pixels. Feels like this should be bigger. 1522. Okay, yeah, no, that's right. So I'll just copy this a few times and we'll copy the text here. Copy this, paste that in there. Copy this. Maybe there's some letter spacing. Looks like there might be some letter spacing. No. Okay. All right, for the pricing list item, let's give it some margin from the top and bottom, maybe 10, maybe 20. We can inspect and just take a look. It's 10, yeah. So we'll remove the top and just say 10. And we'll add to this blurb, we'll add 10 pixels of margin to the bottom. 20 or 20. Okay, that's looking good. And then we have that button. So in the pricing column, we'll add a button and let's set it to, so pricing, call it pricing plan button. No, pricing. Yeah, definitely could name that much better. We'll set it to 100%. And the text is 500, 1523. So let's go to 500, 1523. And we'll center the text. And we'll say choose. Is it capital? No. Choose plan. And there's a lot of spacing here, so we'll add maybe like 60. We'll do 80. All right. That looks good. And yeah, for this button, we're going to, let me grab this color here. That doesn't look like the right color, but we'll go with it. And we'll set the radius to 200 and add some padding, maybe 20. All right, so we have this column. I'm sure you can probably name it a bit better. I'm sure if I thought more of what I wanted to name it, it'd have a bit better class. The class names would be a bit better. Cool. So let me go ahead and add a border radius to this section. This has a border radius of 26. So that's the entire wrapper, pricing table wrapper. So we'll set the background color to background color here to white. Let me just make sure. Background color is white, set to 50% with the alpha. Nice, and the border radius is 26. Awesome. I'll go ahead and add some margin to the bottom of this, maybe 60. Yeah, we'll do maybe 80. Cool. And then we'll add some padding to the pricing table wrapper. We'll add some padding of maybe 60. Yeah, 60 is good. It's actually 60 on the left and the right and 40 on the top and the bottom. Cool. So that's looking good. I'll go ahead and copy this pricing column into the column wrapper. So let's see. Pricing column wrapper. Yeah. Let's try that again. There we go. Cool. So let's add a bit more space between them. So I'll go to the grid and let's say, let's add 34 pixels for the gap. So it just adds a bit more spacing in between them. And 34 doesn't seem like enough almost. And I actually think that the pricing wrapper could have a little bit more padding. Maybe 60. Yeah, that looks good. Cool. Let's see here. Yeah, and I'll go ahead and just rename it. So we have 54, 89, professional, and 89. Yeah, company. I'm not gonna change all the text because it's just a matter of double clicking and changing the text. But essentially what I want to do now for this pricing column is I want to give it a combo class of popular and set the border radius to 26. Background color of that dark blue. And actually let's do that now. Yeah, the background color to that dark blue. And then the text to white. So we'll call this popular. And we'll set the text to white. And this here, we'll say price popular. You can say white as well. I'm just naming it popular. And the heading popular and white. And then the blurb, popular, and then white. And then pricing list item text, we'll say popular and white. And then I'll do the same for all of these. Oops, wait. I'll just give it the combo class popular. And that'll change the text for all of them. Yeah, and it does have a different icon here as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and export that as an SVG image. We'll call it checkmark white. And I'll go ahead and replace the image here for all of these. Replace image with the white one. Replace image, white. Replace image, white. Cool. Let's see here. And then for this column, this pricing column, I'm going to, so I set it to popular. I'm going to remove, say pricing column. Yeah, I'm going to the pricing column wrapper, I'm going to say popular. And I'm going to remove this padding. And I'm just going to add a little bit of padding to the left and the right, or actually to the pricing column. I'm going to add some padding to the left and the right, so maybe 30. and some padding to the top and the bottom. Or actually, this has a button at the top that says most popular. So we'll add a div in here. We'll place it at the top inside the column. Pricing popular. And let's go ahead and grab these colors. So we'll say like this. We'll add a text block in here. And we'll say pricing popular text. Set it to that color. The font is 1015 and letter spacing of 1, all caps. Letter spacing of 1, 10, and 15. And we'll just go ahead and type in most popular. We'll center it, and then we'll select the button here, and we'll add some padding to the top, maybe 10. And we want to position it to the right, so let's see. So pricing column, we'll say flex vertical and justify right. Nope, or just say flex vertical, and then we'll align this one to the right there under alignment and order. Let me add a little bit of padding there, and we'll set the radius to 100, just a really large number to make sure it's a pill. And the weight for this text is 800. Okay, so let's just add some padding to the top and the bottom. Let's reduce the, there we go, maybe something like that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And also, let me just remove some margin or padding here. So we'll say 20. Cool. And this button should, see, why is this button so far away? Oh, I see. Because this text, no. Let me see here. Let me set it to block. Oh, I think I see 60 column. Pricing column. Okay. This button shouldn't be so low. Pricing column. Oh, I see, because we added this most popular element up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and try something. I'm gonna set this to position of absolute. And we're gonna add some, no, still does it. Here, I got a better idea. All right, so we'll do that. And then, cool, pricing column relative. And then we'll set this pricing column to a position of absolute. No, never mind that. We're gonna move it. Let me see if I can do this here. Pricing column, we're gonna move it up. Yeah, perfect. And to the left. So let's line up the button like that. And let's go ahead and change the color of this button. We'll add a combo class of popular, and I'll go ahead and change the background color to purple. Popular, so Oh yeah, background color should be right here. Purple. Yeah, awesome. And I'm gonna add some padding to the bottom of all of these pricing columns. So like 30. That way this one has some padding. Maybe 20. Cool. So that's working out. So we just moved it. I didn't have to change it to absolute. I'm just moving it with position relative. And just kind of eyeballing, you know. Actually, I'm trying to line up, choose a plan with these other buttons down here. So this button should align with this one. Yeah, I think that aligns pretty well. Nice, and I'll go ahead and add a shadow to this. So it's 42, blur 34, and let's try that. And I'll take this color here. So go to box shadows, click the plus, add that color. So it's on the Y axis, blur 42. No, blur 34 and Y distance 42. And the opacity is 30. So we'll change the alpha here to 30. Cool. That's not looking bad. These cards still feel a little bit too wide, so I'm going to go into the column and let's see, popular. Let's go to the pricing column or the pricing wrapper and then add. I'll select the one that doesn't have the combo class so it applies to all of them. And that one's not working. I'm wondering if I want to set a specific width to these, maybe 30%. No. Pricing table wrapper, or I can just try adding more gap, maybe 60. Yeah, 60, 80. That's not too bad. Now it feels a little bit too. All right, we'll leave it like that for now. Just feels a bit wide. Let me add some padding to the section on the bottom. I'm gonna add 100 pixels so it scrolls a little bit. Cool. Or what I can do is to the container, let's just set a max width of 900. Maybe 1,000. No, I like 1170. We'll come back to that. And cool. So yeah, let's add this gradient to the section. So we have this gradient down here. I'm gonna try to mimic it. It looks like it just is all the colors blended together. So we have the section. I'll go to background. Background's right here. Click the plus. I'll go to gradient, and let's make the gradient. Yeah, so from bottom to top. So the top is this color. Then we'll add another one. And let's see. So we have. Trying to see if I can grab that gradient. Oh, it's a circular gradient. Oh wow. And then this has a gradient. All right, I'll just try to mimic it. I'm not gonna, focus too much time, but like I would do something like this. Then we have the purple. The purple's at the bottom. Guessing it's this blue color. Let me try removing this purple. Something like this. We do have that pink. So there's a lot of colors here. I don't know, let's see. Okay, so here we go. I think this is it. We have fill. And I'm not going to spend too much time here, but let's just try to I'm just working with the alpha here. Maybe this is that. No, it's more blue. All right, I'll create my own gradient, just so I don't spend too much time on this. So I kind of like that. Yeah. And yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to spend too much time on this gradient, even though I do want to recreate it. It looks like they might have a blur somehow here, which could be cool. Okay, let me give it one more attempt and then I'm going to call it because this video is pretty long. 30. We'll add, let's see, add another gradient here. Let's make it purple. No, I don't like this blue. Yeah, we'll leave it like that. Okay. And cool, background blur. This has a background blur to it. Okay, so we can add a blur to, no, I don't think that would work. Pricing table wrapper. Nope. Maybe it's a backdrop filter. Yeah, I think it's a backdrop filter. All right, cool. I think that's it for this tutorial. I'm not going to go through the interaction of changing this button. Essentially, we would just move this button, or maybe I can do that really quick. I know this video is getting kind of long, but what I would do for this is if we clicked on this button, I'd go to interactions, I'd say mouse click, start an animation. I would say pricing time, first click. Essentially, actually, you could just turn this into a tab. You'd want to make this a tab, but you'd still have to apply the interaction to it. Then I would move it 100% on the x-axis and change the text color to this color, and then change this text color to white, and I would start them all together. So let's see how that looks. pricing plan text, color, this should be white. Pricing plan text color, pricing plan text. Let's do white. Okay, that should do. Okay, cool. Nice. And that's basically it. Save, and then on start an animation, we'll duplicate this, and I'll say second click. And then we move it back to 0%, change the text color of this to blue, and the text color of this to white. Save that. And let's see, so this, no, this should be like that, okay. And this should be white, yeah. All right, that would require a bit more work. Let's set this to easing of ease. So it moves back there, so this color should be white, and this should be blue, that's right. And then this should be, this should be blue. This should be blue. And this should be white. And let's just do selected element. Easing of ease, save, and for all of these, just do selected element. All right, cool. And I'll save that. I probably could have made this a button so that when you click on the entire button, the animation does something. But let's go ahead and change the cursor to a pointer. And we have that little effect there. If you click on the text, it doesn't happen. That's why I think I should have added, no, maybe not a button. Or yeah, actually, I could have added a button. Yeah. Anywho, that's pretty much it. Or I could apply the interaction to the pricing time wrapper. Let me try that. Oh no, never mind. Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much more time on this, but that's kind of the idea, to toggle that button. And yeah, we have a button here. This would be a menu, and it is responsive somewhat. We'd have to make it a bit more responsive. And it looks pretty similar. I think these columns are a bit wider than this Figma file, so I would just play around with maybe adding more padding here. Maybe like 100, or yeah, like 100. And this one I would add not quite. Yeah, I would just kind of mess around with that. Leave that there. Might do something like that. Yeah, or adding more spacing to the grid. Yeah, that's not bad. Let me just undo what I just did there. No, I think it's okay. I mean, it's a bit wider, but yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, so that's it for this tutorial. I can go ahead and publish it to Webflow. This was a bit of a longer tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, but just wanted to quickly go over how to build something like that in Webflow. And there we go. We have a nice little pricing table. Definitely the gradient I would want to work on a bit more, but that's kind of the idea there. And looks good. Cool. So yeah, thanks for watching. This Figma file was by Software SENI. I'll leave a link in the description area below. I will make this clonable, so you can just go ahead and copy it and take a look at the structure of this pricing table, or copy and paste it into your own project and then fine tune it so that it looks similar to your own design. But yeah, I think that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video tutorial. Thank you.